Hey guys, so welcome back to Technoback. This is Parikshit here back again in the new video, and in the continuation of our web application vulnerability series, we are covering the XXE vulnerability for now. So we have seen in the previous video what we have covered is like how to check or find the blind XXE and how to exploit it, right? So this is what we have seen. We have covered some labs from the port figure. We have seen how to exploit the XXE vulnerability in there, and now in this video we are going to continue the same topic, okay, and we are going to see some other labs as well as some other topics like how to use the XInclude function to exploit the XXE vulnerability. So this is what again we have to do, and we are also going to see how we are going to take advantage of file upload functionality, which is allowing us to upload a file, and then how you can perform XXE by using that feature as well. So if you're new to the video, please make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that next videos that I'm going to upload you will not miss that. And if you like this content, please hit the like button guys. So let's get started now. So in previous video we have seen how to find and how to exploit the blind XXE by using the OAST technique, which is out of band technique, and another one was with the out of band interaction via the XML parameter entity, where we seen like we were not able to define the entity outside of a DTD, and we need to define or call out the particular entity within the same DTD. So what we have done is like we created the parameterized entity and we called it within the same DTD, and that's how then it worked. So this is how we have seen in a previous video, right? If you have not seen my previous video, please make sure to check that out before you are moving on to this video, right? Because you will understand it much better if you're having a previous ideas. Or so let's get started with this today's video, and here what we are going to learn is how to perform the XXE by using XInclude attack. So what is it and why we need XInclude? This is what now we are going to see. So while performing some labs in the XXE in previous video, we have seen that how we give the entity name over here, we give the ampersand, entity name, and semicolon. So that's how it will then call that particular entity, and it will fetch the result of that particular value, right? So it will give you that result. That's how it was happening till now. But what if you are getting any kind of error, like because sometime application will validate it properly, it will check whether any entities are getting passed in there or not. So if it is checking that, if it is validating that, so it will not allow you, and it might throw you some kind of error like entities are not allowed, right? So what you will do in that case, right? So let's test that before we before I tell you this theoretically. Here let's see practically how you will get like this kind of error, right? So this is the lab, like let's say this is the XInclude to retrieve the file. I will just open it out and we'll see how we can perform it, right? So this is the lab, and this is saying that the lab has a checkstop feature, right, that embeds the user input inside the server-side XML document, and that is subsequently parsed. So because you don't control the entire XML document, you can't define DTD to launch the classic XXE, right? This is exactly I have told you, right? Because sometime application will validate it and it will not allow you to pass the XML document, or you can't create the DTD in there. So now to solve the lab, you have to inject the XInclude statement to retrieve the content of etc passwd file. So this is exactly you can try as a bypass, I can say. And I will do one thing guys. First of all, I will copy this and I will just put it into the scope. So paste URL, okay. And now what we want to do is check stock, right? Because that is existing in there only. Now we want to go here and we want to check stock, and we can see the stocks is displayed here. I will go to verb store. You can see this is the post request. I will send to repeater, and in here now we can see this is the similar thing which we have seen before, right? So here what we used to do is like we used to create any kind of entity and we used to call that entity from this product ID value, but we are not able to see whether this is the XML, whether it is using XML data or XML format or not, right? Because we can only see is like a plain request, but how it is taking like a product ID equals to 1 and store ID equal to 1. So we don't get it, right? We are not getting it. So in that case we can do is like a change body encoding thing, and in here what will happen is like it will give you the complete picture like what it is. So there are not other options available. We can actually convert the body into XML or JSON format as well, but for that we have to install that particular extension, so it will provide you the particular options in here, right? So for this we are not able to see it, but it's okay. We can only see is like product ID is there where we have a value, and store ID is there where we have value. So what we can do is like we can try to see, instead of product ID we will just type like any entity name, any entity which we want to define. Like let's try to define any entity, or maybe just want to call any entity, right? So we'll give entity, but we want to call it, and because it is taking a product ID value, so we need to convert it into the URL encode, or we need to encode it into URL format. So the for ampersand it is %26, and this is something like a entity, and that's all. I will just send it go, and let's see. Okay, so you can now see that it is saying entities are not allowed for the security reasons. So this is what I was talking about, guys, because this is what application will do. It will validate that particular parameter, and whether it will check if entities are getting passed in here or not. So it will validate it, and it will give you error because the security measures is applied here. So it is saying that entities are not allowed, and for the security reason. So there is a way to bypass it. So the way is you have to use the XInclude. You can use the XInclude kind of function. And before we go to the payload, I will just tell you about what is the XInclude function here. So it is also the part of XML language, right? XML specification. So this allows an XML document to build from sub document. Okay, now you can place the XInclude attack within any data value in the XML document, so that attack can be performed in situation where you can control the single item of a data that is placed into the server side XML document. And now how you can perform it. So there is a pretty defined payload that I have already told you, and you need to reference the XInclude namespace. So this is the one which is acting as a namespace. Okay, and we have to provide the path to the file that you want to include. So for example, here we can see this is the namespace that we have given. Okay, and the file is, this is the one which we want to access. So this is the exactly the path which we have provided, right, which we want to include. And now we have to give the parse equal to text. Why we are giving it? Because we know that XInclude will attempt to parse the file as a valid XML. So if it is again taking it as a XML, and we have already seen how application thrown us the error, right, that XML entities are not allowed, right? So it should not happen in that case. So to prevent it, what we are doing is we are giving it like a parse equal to text. So it will text as a, it will take this as a text, and it will not take it as a XML data. Okay, so this is how again it will prevent it. So XInclude, we have already given it here, and we have passed it into the text, and we are referring to this value. So this is the namespace we have given here, and that's all. This is the pretty defined XInclude payload that you can use to access whatever the file that you want. So you can give a reference to the file here, and then you can use it. So this is what we are going to do. We will simply copy it. Okay, and what we will do is we'll go to burp, and in place of product ID, let's put it here. Okay, so this is it. We have updated it here, and now we will just send it here. Go. So let's see what happens. Okay, you can now see clearly that we have a result. We have a result of a etc pass wd file, and we are able to see the users that are there in the system, right? So this way, like, you can access any kind of file from the web server, and this is another bypass, you can say, for the XXE, where the application doesn't allow the entities to be created or document type to be created, and in that case you can use the XInclude functions, and you can try to access it like this way. Okay guys, so this is it. I hope you understood it, and now we are going to see how we can exploit the XXE by using image file upload function. So this is also possible, and now how we will do it we will see here. So let's try to access the lab, and we will see what the lab says. So this lab lets the user attach avatar to comments and uses Apache Batik library to process the avatar image file. And now we want to solve the lab. So to solve the lab, upload an image that displays the content of etc hostname file after processing, and then use the submit solution button to submit the value of a server hostname. So what we want to do is we want to fetch the host name of the particular server. So we can get the host name by using etc hostname. This is the file which will be there, and we want to embed it, or we want to put it into some kind of image inside image or inside the content of the image file. So what is the thing that you can do here, like what is that file, which image file you can edit, or which is supporting XML, and you can embed this kind of XML content in there, and you can try to get it. So we have a hint here, and it is clearly saying that SVG image format uses the XML. So this is the format that we can use, SVG image format, and it is clearly saying that it uses XML. Means there we can try to go ahead and we can try to modify something in there, and we can refer our entity to this particular value, and we can maybe call the particular entity from there, and we can then get the result, right? So let's see how we can do that. We will first of all access the lab. So the lab is open. I will just copy this lab ID and I will put it into the scope. Okay, all right, everything is done, and maybe I will just delete it, and that's all. I will just refresh the page, or maybe directly we will go to the view post option and we'll see what is there. So this is exactly the page, and here we have to do is leave a comment and give a name and choose the file. So this is where we will be uploading an SVG file. So for this lab, I have already copied this particular SVG element or SVG content, okay, and this is what we have to use to edit a particular SVG file, and we can like use this code, and we can like put it into a notepad, and we can create a file, right? So create a file and save it as a, like .svg, right? So this is some SVG, which is scalar vector graphics code, which we can use to create any kind of image. You can do pretty much like you can create any kind of shape like by using this kind of scalar vector graphics code, right? So what you have to do is like just simple SVG width, height, and you have to set whatever the different thing like polygon or something like that, or circle or whatever. So this is something which you can easily get on the internet, how you will create a SVG image, and you can use that code as well. So what we have to do here, guys, is just at the beginning of SVG tag we have to define our XML, okay, and in here we want to create a document type along with the document type name and entity within the document type. This is the name for the entity which we have given, and we have created a system, or we have given a system keyword which is referring to the host name, right? This is exactly we want, and this is we have updated it before the SVG, and inside the SVG we have simply given what the images pixel and height should be. So this is we have just given over here, and another thing is we have to include the XML NS and Xlink attributes in here, okay. And after that, like suppose let's say we have a text tag here, and in before we close the text tag we are calling our entity, okay, and then we are closing our SVG tag. So you can like use any kind of SVG code from the internet, and you can try to modify it in there, and you can place your payload accordingly. So I will just use this one, and let's copy it. And what we want to do is we want to just comment out here, and before that I will just guys show you we have to like take this code, copy it, and you can just create any notepad and put it in here and save it as a .svg. So on desktop I will save it as a svg file, svg file dot svg, okay, and that's all. I will just save it, So once it is saved, you can just close it and you can check it on desktop. Your file is there, svg file. And now we want to upload it here, right? So before that I will just say hello as a comment, name is hello, and I will just choose the file which is our svg file. So this is the svg file. And now next thing is you can give any test email, test@gmail.com, and that's all. I will just post it, right? So let's see. Once you post it, it is saying thank you for your comment. We will now go back to the blog and we'll see what happens. So in here we can see this is the hello and this is the avatar we can see here. So we can right click on it and we can open the image in a new tab and we can see what is that image. So this is exactly, image is now containing the host name, right? This is the host name because we have asked for the host name in the image, right? Or in our svg code. So make a note of it, okay, which is 93db and again d 47a909. And the lab says that we want to update this particular host name and we want to send this host name into the lab. Okay, so submit solution, host name, okay, and yeah, lab is solved. Congratulations. So this is how you can just make a use of svg file or svg code. You save it as .svg, make a use of your xml code or whatever the payload that you have created into the svg code, and you embed it there and you save it, okay? And once you're done, you upload it here or anywhere which allows the svg file, and you can then go to that particular image and you can check your content also, right? So this is exactly you can do with this. So I hope you understood this, guys. We have pretty much covered almost all lab, like we have seen initially about the in-band XXE, then later we have seen about the blind XXEs, and we have seen how you can take advantage of XXE by using some different options, like how you can retrieve XXE data or data by using XXE, but if it is not allowing to use XXE, then how you can use the XInclude kind of function, then how you can use the image file upload function to exploit the XXE. And the next thing we want to do is we want to learn about the prevention of this particular vulnerability, right? So we have seen what it is, how to do it, how to find it, how to exploit it, okay, and how impactful it is. And we know how impactful it is. We have clearly seen we can get the passwd file. Similarly, let's say if you suppose get the shadow file as well and passwd file as well, you can copy both the file, the content of both the file, and you can use some unshadow kind of tool and try to get the exact password and username from there. And you can then even try to log in into the web server because you will have the credential. So it is like completely you are taking a complete control over the system. So this is a very severe impactful on the web server. So we need to know how we can remediate it, how you can prevent such kind of attack, right? So this is exactly we want to see in our next video. So I hope you understood this, guys, and please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so that you will not miss the next videos that I'm going to upload. So thanks for watching, have a great day, and bye bye.